Rick and Morty, Rick and Morty, Rick and Morty. That's all I'm gonna talk about for the next 2 weeks, because the season finale of Rick and Morty just aired, and wowie zowie, that was a lot of things. So today, we're gonna discuss how amazing this finale of Rick and Morty was. Season finale, not series finale. This series will still be going on for a while. Don't be sad, guys. It's fine.
9 more seasons, Morty. 9 more seasons until I get that dipping Szechuan sauce. For 97 more years, Morty. I want that McNugget sauce, Morty.
Reminder, if you're new or old, to make sure you're subscribed and have your notifications on, because we're trying really hard to grow this channel because people still forget that I exist sometimes. So it really helps a lot if you do those things and you tell your friends about KimPossibleAlot and explain how she used to make My Little Pony videos, and now she doesn't, and now she's making a Rick and Morty video. I'm just confusing everyone today. Just a heads up that this video is gonna spoil the shit out of Rick and Morty. If you care, watch it, come back, and hopefully I just don't spoil the whole goddamn thing for you. And if you're not sure if you want to watch Rick and Morty, then take it from me. It's like one of my favorite shows ever, especially so from this episode. So listen, you gotta listen to the YouTuber who's talking to you on the computer.
Now pay attention.
I will say this up front, I am a simp for character revelations that redefine the core text of the material. Core text being the media, not actually text. I know Rick and Morty is not a book, thank you. That's what Kim Possible ended up being. These things redefine character motivations and make us go, oh, that was the motivation the whole time. Kim and Ron liked each other the whole time, they just didn't know it. And then they get jealous when other people are getting involved. It's like they like each other or something.
I am not gelling.
So, wowee, this episode was made for me, KT person on the internet. So let's get into the Rick and Morty Season 5 finale review and breakdown thing, or whatever YouTube wants me to call it, because the algorithm, I'm very excited to talk about it. So this episode is separated into 2 parts, and let me just start off by saying that the first part about Rick and the 2 Crows sucked. So the important parts of the Rick and 2 Crows thing that needed to be said before we got into the big finale part that everyone cares about is that Rick and Morty establishing that their relationship is toxic, and Rick getting better somehow. How does he get better? By learning empathy from crows.
I'll always be your grandpa, Morty. I'm just kind of obsessed with crows now.
I don't know, this is a really weak way to have Rick learn empathy and kind of unrealistic and isolating. It was weird. What the writers were setting up is that Rick is so enticed by this new relationship that he's willing to try to learn a new skill, empathy for the other party, in order to keep up with the crows. It's a little bit hard to believe. Like, do we really believe Rick, of all people, learned empathy from some crows he got? I don't know, I'm not really believing it.
Well, I remember you as a whiny little piece of shit, Morty. I've got about 1,000 memories of your dumb little ass, and about 6 of them are pleasant. The rest is annoying garbage. So why don't you do us both a favor and pull the trigger? Do it, motherfucker! Pull the trigger!
The Morty subplot was also kind of weak. Like, I get it, he wants to break away from Rick, but I don't know, did anyone like the other half of the Porta Boy? I don't even care about him, and I hope he never comes back, because that was just stupid. It was a waste of a 2-parter. This didn't have to be 2 parts. The episode also needed to highlight how dependent Morty is on Rick. Like, out of all the things that Rick has done to Morty, Morty still misses going on adventures with Rick. And he wants to work it out enough to try to bait Rick to come back by pretending to be a 40-year-old man or something.
They were nice. You know, when you grab a woman's breast and you feel it, and it feels like a bag of sand when you're touching it.
The episode was smart in that execution because there were little hints that Morty wasn't actually 40.
Do you have a rum and coke? What are you, 20? Oh, bless your heart.
This episode kind of highlights what's wrong with Season 5 as a whole. There were very, very good episodes, like the opener and the Bird Person episode. Those were all fantastic. But then we get episodes like Sperm taking over the world or something. You can tell from behind-the-scenes interviews that the writers just didn't know what to do.
Giant sperm. I don't know how this is an episode. Turned out, disgusting and tasteless.
That happened. That happened.
Which I think is a bad excuse when your whole season only has 10 episodes, when seasons usually have 24 episodes. Like, it's not hard to care about every episode when you have, like, forever to make them. You also have kind of mixed episodes, like the Duplicates episode, which is a good episode, but because it doesn't have any characterization or growth from our main Rick and Morty, it doesn't really count. But it's still a fine episode. Just do more of those if you can't think of episodes. You don't have to try to make some half-ass sperm episode that no one cares about and everyone wants to cry when they see it. So now that we got the boring shit out of the way, let's get to the episode that everyone cares about, which is the ending of part 2 of the season 5 closer. So I think objectively the biggest points of part 2 were Rick's backstory and evil Morty striking away from the central finite curve and what that means for the rest of the series. For those of you who want me to break down the evil Morty stuff, we'll get to that in a second. Because first, we're going to talk about the Rick backstory stuff, which is the best thing ever, and I'm so excited because now we have a tragic anti-hero. He was already the best character, but now he's the bestest character, and I'm so excited to talk about it. So if you need a refresher, what we essentially find out is that Rick actually lost his wife, who was actually named Diane, into his Beth.
If Diane were alive today, what would she think? Don't fucking establish canonical backstory with me, you red lobster!
And essentially, he went on a big killing spree trying to find the Rick that did it. Also note that this R symbol is pretty recurrent. I think it's an important distinction to note that Rick isn't just killing Ricks randomly. He's following this trail around this R symbol to hopefully find the murder Rick. There's a lot of Ricks. And then he eventually gave up and chose a Beth that was already born that was missing her Rick, and he moved in with her, and that's the plot of the show. So the Morty, from the title of Rick and Morty, isn't even Rick's original Morty, because Rick never had an original Morty, because his Beth died. It makes Rick a really tragic figure in hindsight, and I think more relatable that way. He just wanted his family. So all these lines that Rick is now famous for...
What people call love is just a chemical reaction that compels animals to breed. It hits hard, Morty, then it slowly fades, leaving you stranded in a failing marriage. I did it. Your parents are gonna do it. Break the cycle, Morty. Rise above. Focus on science.
Rick doesn't actually believe that. It's because of his own tragedy, and he's just become nihilistic. And love is actually his driving factor. Oh my god, this is so sad, but it's so good. Tragic anti-heroes who just want love is one of KP's favorite character tropes, and now I have it in Rick and Morty in the best character ever. Another aspect that I found really interesting is it totally recontextualizes the main family's relationship. Like, our Rick has to go along with this whole he divorced Diane and left Beth, but in reality, it's the opposite. The reason he tries to make it work with Morty, the reason he wants control of the family, the reason he just doesn't leave.
Will you just go away? Aren't there like infinite timelines? Can't you just move to one where I don't know I'm a clone and where a different but identical version of your authentic, sociopathic, crazy bitch of a daughter can keep making you proud by being somewhere else?
Beth, you crazy bitch, you're my daughter.
It's because he's just so sad and because he needs that in his life. And even though Rick is essentially so toxic,
what we had was abusive, don't you see?
He tries and has to better himself because he needs family in his life and because that's all he wanted the whole time. Oh, it's sad. So I bet as much as you wanted to be Rick in 2013 or whatever, now I bet you don't want to be him because you have one thing that he doesn't. A family. Hopefully. A girlfriend. Psh, please, you're watching my videos. So let's go through some of the things that gets recontextualized because of this revelation in the show.
Wait a minute, what? Away we go!
The episode The Old Man in the Seat really highlights and probably sets up the revelation that Rick just wants a friend. He wants really positive people in his life.
You know what shy pooping is, Rick? It's a pointless bid for control. You want to take the one part of life that you truly think is yours, and you want to protect it from a universe that takes whatever it wants. It took my wife. It clearly took something from you. We can spend our lives fighting that, or we can choose to be free.
The ABCs of Beth show his need to want to make his version of Beth happy, even though it's not his version.
Why would you do that for me?
I don't know, maybe you matter so little that I like you. Or maybe it makes you matter. Maybe I love you. Maybe something about your mother. Don't jump a gift shark in the mouth.
And I think that's why he had such a hard time choosing and deciding between the two Beths, is because he doesn't want to feel attachment to either one, because he's afraid of attachment because they're not his Beths, and he doesn't want to get hurt again.
Holy shit, I'm a terrible father.
The bird person wedding was already recontextualized because if you remember from the episode before the finale, Rick, is in love with bird person, which, you know, is funny in hindsight. You're a bird and a person.
I'm a bird and a person and more.
That is a lot of gay vibes, my dudes. Love is a chemical reaction, my ass. This also recontextualizes the end of season 2, where Beth is just paranoid that Rick will leave her, but it's actually a lot deeper. Writing. It's not the fact that Rick feels bad for abandoning Beth again, it's the fact that Rick can relate to the feeling of abandonment, and that's why he makes his choices. Not out of guilt, but actually out of empathy. But he also still tries to control the family so he himself feels safe. It's that even though Rick has been through so much tragedy, he still wants to feel like he can run his own domain and wants to kick out any obstacles that might challenge him for real.
No more Dad, Morty. He threatened to turn me into the government, so I made him and the government go away.
We find out that all these genuine moments are actually genuine.
You're crying over a Morty?
It recontextualizes random lines that are actually now more meaningful and sadder now.
You're gonna believe a play over your own daughter?
Yes, I am, Beth, because you're not my own daughter.
Oh God, yes, I'm one of infinite Beths with infinite fathers and infinite universes. It's called a hug, Dad. It won't kill you.
Yeah, don't be so sure.
Rick also might have purposely chosen a Beth whose Rick abandoned her, so he has a sense of security, which is also really sad, but it might be a possibility. I need to take a nap, guys. We finally understand wubba-dubba-dub-dub.
That's just Rick's stupid nonsense catchphrase.
It's not nonsense at all. In my people's tongue, it means, I am in great pain. Please help me.
Do you guys not understand how excited I am about all this? And now Simple Rick is just sadder. Nobody knows the trouble I've seen. We still have Eva Morty out there, and most importantly, we still have Murder Rick out there, who I'm betting my dollar is gonna come back. Probably not for like 10 more years, but he's gonna come back! I also think Rick is gonna start cleaning up his shit, which was kind of hinted at the beginning of the two-parter, where Morty is cleaning up Rick's shit that he just kind of left behind.
They took power immediately after you and your grandpa left.
Can you help us with this UFO-shaped hole? The beast emerged right after your grandpa left.
So maybe the Cronenberg universe will get fixed. Yay! So let's get to the Evil Morty plot. To be honest, I didn't expect this is where Evil Morty was going. I thought he would just be out for more and more power and control, not just break from the cycle altogether. But I guess when you run the Citadel, like, where do you go from there? So in case you haven't figured it out yet, the big thing about Evil Morty breaking the central finite curve is now we get to introduce characters that maybe Rick can't control himself or can't handle himself, where he's gonna have to wait for it, depend on people around him, and his relationships in order to help him save the day. He can't just do whatever the fuck he wants anymore. It's like this is building into a show about family or some shit. I think the Evil Morty motivation coupled with Rick's backstory just really highlight how emotionally damaged Rick is and how he needs Morty in his life in order just to function, which is kind of the tragedy of the whole thing, but also why Evil Morty just wants to get away from it all. It's still yet to be seen whether the central finite curve is broken altogether due to Evil Morty's actions, or Evil Morty is just existing outside it and can kind of make his own way out in the Rickless universe. So I guess we'll see in 5,000 more years whenever the new season happens.
Ooh-wee, Evil Morty. That was quite a scheme.
So as much as some of the little finite details either got missed a little bit.
Check out season 1, episode 9, Rickheads. Excelsior.
Wrong episode, boys. It's 10, not 9. Or we're just kind of funny background moments. I also wanted to highlight some of the positives and negatives fandoms can have on creators. There will always be toxic fans, but in general, in Rick and Morty's case, as far as the influence of storytelling goes, I think it's been incredibly positive. The reason we got this backstory is because fans wanted it.
This is an episode we felt like we owed.
I think fans were a great insight to point out natural story beats that story directors and creators maybe should explore.
My favorite Rick and Morty fan art was hanging on my dining room wall at my previous house, and it actually deeply influenced me in terms of thinking about the canon of the show, which is this kind of beautiful, epic oil painting of Rick and Bird Person from behind at what we came to call the Battle of Blood Ridge. I look at that stuff and I go, Jesus, I really want to live up to how dimensional you make this show in your head.
If fans want to know about what's going on, then it presents a really good opportunity for things like this, where the media is actually made 100,000 times better because something is recontextualized, you know, for the better.
Whoa, dead wife? Yes, now everyone can shut up about it.
Fan discourse and discussion can be a great way to analyze natural story beats in your narrative. You know, as long as creators still have creative control at the end of the day. There's also a lot of negative and mixed bag examples of this, and just because someone's a fan of a show doesn't mean they're going to write the characters well. One prominent example of this is in the Avatar: The Last Airbender spin-off comments, which kind of come off as really polarizing and out of character because Zuko asks Aang to kill him and it becomes a thing, and I hate it. And that's why we should only let the Avatar creators write Avatar things. Keep it in your fan fiction. This revelation also clearly defines Rick's arc for the rest of the show. As stupid as I feel like the concept for Rick and the two crows is, it shows Rick that the empathy of the crows is rewarding to him and he feels emotionally safe. They show that in this scene.
You could have killed me back there. How did you guys ever forgive me?
In return, Rick is motivated to also be empathetic to them, to not only keep the safe relationship going, but also because it's internally rewarding because he knows he's making an active effort to continue it. There's a lot of writer psychology in this episode, in case you didn't know that already, but that's why I'm here, because I watched it 5 million times. This episode needs to be in front of this adult plot in order for Rick to learn and be willing to sacrifice slightly more in order to have this version of Morty in his life. Hence why we finally got Rick's backstory and didn't just try to get out of it or something. Rick needs to become healthier emotionally and naturally, and not just some quick fix in order to keep Morty and some version of Beth and the family around. The Crow's subplot sets up that he genuinely wants a healthier bond with Morty, because it's safe and more emotionally fulfilling, while also wanting to be fulfilled by the family he chose. My prediction is, throughout the rest of the show's run, Rick will start to emotionally invest more in his familiar relationships, because of these two stupid fucking crows. In turn, Morty and the rest of the family will grow to become more loyal to him through his actions, until we have some epic final where Rick makes a life or death selfish choice for the sake of his family union, and is rewarded with a happy ending. We already see this a little bit in the Hell Demon episode, where Rick learns throughout the episode that maybe being addicted to Jerry, even if he is stupid, making fun of him is kind of sad and highlights that Rick is the problem here, not Jerry.
You're way less cool than me, but it's not cool of me to celebrate that.
I also imagine that Rick will start to clean up some of the messes from the series in order to start showing this change and slow character growth, and Morty will respond to these changes. It's like, it's character development or something. This finale also gives some hindsight of why Rick just didn't jump ship at the end of season 3, because he's loyal to this version of Morty, that he wants to have this singular version of Morty throughout the rest of their adventures. So he's a little tied to what Morty wants. I think the clearest highlight of Rick's character growth so far is in the Bird Person episode, where there's Bird Person feelings.
Why the f*** are you risking your life for that asshole? Because you love him.
I don't think in season 1 Rick would have said that. And that's it. That's Rick's arc. That's Rick's arc for the rest of the series. His character arc is actually avenging his dead family. He lied the whole time. That's it. It's 9 more seasons. We got the whole rest of the series to figure it out. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be epic. It's gonna be my favorite thing ever. It's not a hero's journey. It's an anti-hero's journey, because we want to root for Rick because he's cool and stuff, but he's kind of an asshole, and we gotta make him a little less of an asshole over time, so he learns his lesson, and he feels less lonely on the inside, so we don't feel guilty for selling Rick and Morty t-shirts. That's it. That's the anti-hero's journey. Welcome to the KP show. Thanks for coming. Subscribe. And that's all, folks, except it's not time for the ending gag.
After all this time. Always.
His name is Simple Rick, but he's no dummy. He realized long ago that the greatest thing he'd ever create was his daughter.
I love Daddy! I can't take it anymore! I just want to die! We all want to die!
There's epic canon in season 5 coming.
Okay.
I mean, fans are gonna, like, get knocked over by the canon we're about to hit them with season 5.
That is a perfect tease.
Well played.
Yes.
Hey everyone, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you saw, please remember to leave a comment and share this with a friend or 2 or 5. Click here to subscribe, we really appreciate it. Click here to check out the main collaborator for this video. Click here to check out our video playlist for this video, where you might find similar videos that hopefully you like and enjoy. There's also a credits scroll here, where you can check out all the other awesome contributors. All their info is in the description. That's all I gotta say, KP away!